It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lippman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lippman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so happy you could tune in today. It's going to be a busy morning, busy show as it's the first week in June, and you know what that means. Connie Grenning from peanutbutterandwine.com is going to come on in just a bit and tell us what's hot and what's not in June. I love Connie. She always has such great giveaways, and she's going to tell us what she's giving away this month. But what do we have first? Let's see. And then after that, I am going to be welcoming Sandi Schwartz from Leading Edge Parenting. And we're going to be talking all about toddlerhood, everything toddler. And Sandi sure does know her stuff. Her book is Authentic Parenting Power. And I'll tell you what, the book is something else. It's really good. So I hope you can stay for both. It's going to be a great show. And, you know, you can always call us if you have any questions, 877-864-4869 for any of my guests, or just say good morning. Also, quick weather report in Arizona, one word, hot. It was 110 degrees yesterday in Arizona. I have to say that it's too hot. I'm not going to complain. You know what? No complaints. It's only June. We'll wait till August. But I'm really happy to say that all those wildfires up north in Sedona, they've gotten them under control. But you know what? We have to keep our kids safe this time of year. We've had way too many drownings already. And, you know, keep your kids safe. Put sunscreen on when you take them outside. And, you know, it's too hot to be walking around without shoes outside. Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying your weather wherever you are. We did have one recall. Hamilton Beach recalled baby food makers. It says the slicing shredding disc with the motor shaft adapter can cause the stainless steel pin in the food bowl to loosen and fall into the food, which means there's metal in the food, small parts. So if you go to babyinstructions.com or mybestparentingadvice.com, I have a recall page, which I do keep up to date, and I already put it on there today, way ahead of the game. Also, I just want to give you one quick share before I welcome Connie. This was really interesting to me. In the strange but true section of the paper, it said, a new mom accumulates anywhere from 450 to 700 hours of lost sleep during the first year after a baby is born. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know. I remember those days. I don't know about you, Connie. I know you're on the phone, but my gosh, I can remember those sleepless nights. You're kind of walking around in the fog. So, Connie Grenning from Peanut Butter and Wine, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
Good morning. I'm glad I'm here, too, and I'm glad I don't have any babies at home.
Oh, my gosh, I know. Boy, what a quick month. You were just here, so I'm so happy to have you back again.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
So what's hot in June?
Okay, in June, I have a review coming up for Pampers now has easy pull-up trainers that are good for all night long. So I'll have that review coming up later this month. I also have a play mat coming up from Prince Lionheart. It's got all sorts of fun colors, and it's got a zoo background on it and it's good for growing for toddlers all the way up to when kids are playing with little cars and little things. So it's called the City and Zoo mat, and it comes in its own little case. That review will be up later this month. As for right now, what I have up, I have some really fun things. I have a Dr. Cool wrap, which is a wrap for springs, and you can keep if your foot is or your back hurts or your arm hurts. We just got back from Yosemite, where, of course, one of us always falls and hurts ourselves. Last year it was me, this year it was my daughter, and she sprained her ankle. We had this Dr. Cool wrap, which was so awesome to have in our first aid kit, and I get to give away 2 of them. So those
Does
are
it
really
have
cool.
Velcro? Does this one have
It does.
Velcro on it? And it looks like
closes with a Velcro. It's got a little hole in it in case it's your wrist. You can put your thumb through there so you can wrap it by yourself. It's just a big, thick piece of Velcro, so it's not going to budge, or you're not going to have those little butterfly things flying off. So that's a good thing.
Then you step on them. The butterfly things fall off, and then you have something else that hurts. This looks like it comes in fun colors, too.
It does. It even has a camouflage color.
Oh,
the next one is for dads for Father's Day, because that's coming up quick, is the Daddy and Company. They're the makers of I'm the Daddy. They have T-shirts. They have daddy scrubs that you could to go into the delivery room, and it says I'm the Daddy. Well, I get to give away a whole bunch of fun things. I get to give away a backpack and I'm the Daddy water bottles, little matching T-shirts. This is a great one, and inside that giveaway is another giveaway for $500 worth of I'm the Daddy gifts. So that's a good one to get.
Especially this time of year, a lot of babies are hatched in the spring and the summer.
And how fun would that be? I'm the Daddy for these dads that are, so excited about being a daddy. This is the perfect gift.
Exactly.
Also, I have a couple that are going to end really soon. I have wind chimes, ends in 6 days. These things are 50 inches long, and there's a musical thing in here in the blog that you can, you'll be able to hear what they sound like. They're beautiful. They're Corinthian bells. There's a 50-inch wind chime, so they're big, bold, and beautiful. I have to apologize here. One of the grandkids gave me a cold.
Oh, I know about that. I'm usually hacking away. I have the cough drop sitting right here.
Another one that's going to end real quick is the Blast from the Past DVDs. It has so many DVDs, excuse me, from when we were younger. T.J. Hooker and I Dream of Jeannie, Starsky and Hutch. So this will be and Married with Children. This will be a fun one to win. So you could sit down and show your kids what you used to watch on TV.
Yes, good TV, huh? Really good family TV.
Even Gidget. Do you remember Gidget with Sandi?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow, we're showing our age here.
Exactly. So lots of little things coming up. I'm getting a lot of, we're going to do some weekly posts with what we do with the kids. All 3 of the grandkids, everybody's out of school, so we're going to do summer camp at my daughter's house. So I'll have some ideas of fun things to do with the kids during the summer.
You know what? Well, make sure you get those over to me, and I will put them on my website and Facebook page, because parents are always looking for things to do with their children during the summer.
Well, I have one that I think will be so much fun. I'm going to get a clear shower curtain, masking tape, and tape it up so that it's all nice and, in half. I'm going to put paint, just watercolor paints acrylic paints inside, and make a big painty thing that they can slide on, or they can use their hands to make designs without getting messy.
What fun. What fun. I remember one year doing a project with my kids when they were little. We used a piece of paper, but I think you could do this with the shower curtain outside. We made splatter paint pictures, and we went outside and we let the kids dip a brush in the paint and just flick the paint towards the paper. So you could do that with a shower curtain, have a masterpiece on top of it.
Oh, I like that. Ooh. You want to come over and have playtime with us?
Hey, I'm ready. Let me know. Send me the date and the plane ticket.
Yes. Okay, let's see. What else do I have? I have Fandango tickets. It's $15 and 3 bags of the new little bite-sized Twix bars. And what's really good about these little Twix bars is they're unwrapped. So there's no having to unwrap each individual little piece. So that's a good one.
That is a good
that one. I have a $50 Amazon gift card coming. I have some really big gift cards coming, too. I have another $100 Amazon gift card coming later on this week.
Ooh.
Yes. just lots of fun things coming in.
You know, for those of you listening to the show, if you don't know about Connie's site, Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE.com, she's got really great things, I have to tell you. You know, put it on your phone to at least go once a week and take a look at what she has, because there's some of the things you never heard of. And, you know, if you just tuned into the show, the first time I had Connie on the show, she had something called toe juice. I say this every month. You're probably getting tired of hearing about it. And you just have the greatest things. It's so much fun to talk to you, too. And I love hearing about your grandchildren.
Oh, I'm telling you, right now, the Snotterator is my best friend.
I remember. Yeah, tell. We have a few minutes.
The Snotterator attaches to your vacuum. It does not suck out. I mean, it's not, it's powerful enough to really drain your nose, but not, make you go, oh. Even Alice, who is just turned 3 years old on Sunday, will put it up in her nose herself.
That's pretty good. What's it called? The Snotterator?
Snotterator.
Yep. Snotterator.
In the very top of the blog, you'll see my icons in green, and then follow me on Blog Lovin', and then it says, what you looking for? Type Snot in there, and it will show you a picture of a very little Alice putting the Snotterator up in her nose.
You know what? It's a fact of life, because I used to call this syringe a snotterizer. And it's funny. If you can clear out your kids' noses when they're sick, it's so hard when they can't breathe. They're so miserable. And I'll tell you what, I know this little gadget is not going to suck your kids up either. They'll still be there when you're finished clearing out their noses.
That's right.
If I could just see them going, meow. Yeah. Anyway, Connie, thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you feel better.
Oh,
take some of that vitamin C and tell your grandkids to read books so you can rest. Anyway, we will talk to you in August. And again, everybody, take a look at Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE, and see what Connie has in store. So thanks for sharing what's hot, because there's not any what's not. It's always what's hot. So feel better. Thanks a lot, Connie. We'll talk to you in July. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye.
It's so much fun to have Connie on the show at the beginning of each month, because I have her site right in front of me, and it's great. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for the Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports radio show with commentary about current events, guns, shooting, and firearms issues, automotive and motorsports features, and special music presentations. Johnny is recognized as an international firearms authority and ballistic engineer, as well as an accomplished and widely recognized automotive designer and longtime TV and radio host. This program draws on Johnny's experience in shooting, motorsports, and as a professional entertainer musician. Don't miss Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports. Infotainment at its best. Trust us on this one. It's a fun show. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
This is Buzz Local Radio. We had the 3 topics here, and we just added a 4th because we started talking about hot dogs.
Yes.
Yep, I'm in a band. He's in a band. We both had guitars, so I went over to his house Christmas Day, day.
We had to start a band.
And I think we wrote 4 or 5 songs that afternoon.
And Cannibalistic Fish was one of them. Cannibalistic Fish.
I couldn't do the dreads. My mom would not let me wear my pants backwards to school either. That was wiggity, 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 whack.
Buzz Local Radio. Available for free download on TogiNet.com. That's TogiNet.com.
Are you happy with your life? Satisfied with the direction you're taking? More importantly, are you content with the results you're seeing? Then Success Profiles Radio is the program for you. Join host Brian K. Wright as he talks to experts in many areas relating to life success, including expertise in leadership, business, relationships, careers, networking, health, overcoming adversity, and much more. Each week, we'll explore different aspects of success and how to apply them to your life. For more on Brian and the show, check out his website, briankwright.com. Each week is a dose of inspiration. So many people live their lives wanting more than they currently have. Success Profiles Radio is a show that will clearly demonstrate the principle, if I can do it, you can do it. So don't miss this opportunity to take control of your life and your results. Success Profiles Radio with Brian K. Wright, Mondays at 5 p.m. Central. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so happy you could tune in today. I do not want to waste another minute because I want to introduce my guest, Sandi Schwartz. She is the founder of Leading Edge Parenting. She is a Columbia University alumni, an internationally acclaimed educator, author, radio show host, and popular inspirational speaker, sharing over 40 years of expertise in the field of child development. Sandi's passionate about unlocking the magic that nurtures authenticity in relationships, and she encourages adults to view the parenting experience as an opportunity for the entire family to evolve emotionally and spiritually. Boy, that's so true. She weaves traditional and leading-edge wisdom and offers revolutionary advice for building emotionally healthy partnerships as parents so you can respond to the daily challenges, and there are a few I'm adding, to the most intimate and sacred relationship, the journey with their children. She's a recipient of many awards. Her most distinguished is from the governor of New York State for leadership and courage with children and families in the aftermath of 9/11. Wow, Sandi's done so much. And you know, before I introduce her, I want to just say I was looking at her book, Authentic Parenting Power, which is just great. And the first part of the dedication says, to the children who live with us and within us, and to the power of love as a life force that connects our hearts and souls from one generation to the next. And you know, it's so important when we have our children to just enjoy every minute. So Sandi, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being on here this morning. I can't wait to talk to you about toddlers.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
How are you today?
I'm great. I was all excited to know that I was going to come on your show, Blythe, because it's always so exciting to share my passion with young parents.
You know, and you can hear it in your voice. And when we love what we do, it just, I mean, I love what I do too. So I hope it shows. But I want to talk to you about your book. Your book is just amazing. And let's talk about toddlers just from the beginning, because toddlerhood can be tough for parents. And every toddler is different. And especially when you're a first-time parent, you're not quite sure what's normal. You know, why is my toddler not using his words? Why won't my toddler stop talking? Why was my toddler throwing things across the room and trying to jump off the couch every minute? I mean, you know, it's so difficult when it's your first child and they all of a sudden, they want to be their own, you know, it's all about them. It's not about anything else. So
yeah, and when I work with parents, the next question is always, and what should I do? You know, it's always like, how do I handle this? Because no one really is prepared for toddler land. One day that innocent little infant starts walking and life changes for everybody.
It sure does. And you know, it's so funny because when you watch them walk, they start with that little bow-legged toddle and all of a sudden they are running across the room. And oh my goodness, now what do you do?
Yeah, so life changes, yeah.
So, you know, toddlers, they're different. You talk about little rebels, you talk about old souls, and you talk about, you know, each toddler, while they're trying to explore their independence, they all do it in a different way, always self-centered because that's part of toddlerhood. And and impulsive and distracted. And yeah, I mean, when you look at your toddler, how do you know what's normal? And is there a normal?
Well, in child development, what we teach teachers, and this is really how my work began. I was teaching teachers, and I remember thinking, well, who's teaching this stuff to the parents? Parents deserve to know what we're teaching to the child development, early childhood teachers. And so what we teach to teachers is what the range of typical development looks like for toddlers. And when I talk about toddlers, I usually am talking somewhere around a year when they start to walk to the early 3s. To me, that's toddler time. Mm-hmm. So it's 1s and 2s and very early 3s. And what should we expect? And in a typical classroom, you have a bigger range than a parent does with just one child in the house. But what's important for parents, I think, to know is what is in that typical range and what should you be expecting so that when your child exhibits any of these behaviors, one, you're not worried what's wrong with this child or what's wrong with me or what is going on here. And two, you also learn the most effective ways to be responsive when a toddler does something so you don't take it as a personal offense. You don't expect that just because they're bright and they get some things, that therefore they should know how to do all these other things we want them to do, and then we get annoyed with them when they don't. So I think it's important for parents to just have a broad sense of what's to be expected during that stage of development.
So what about the parent when a parent comes to you and says, I'm a bad parent? Parents put themselves down all the time, and they say, I don't know what to do, and I'm not doing this right, and they're not.
Well, I always like to share my own personal story because when I was a teacher for many years in New York City, and I was very successful. I had prestigious degrees in child development, and then I had our first child, Matthew, and he came into this world. This is important. How does your child come into this world? Because they're all hardwired very uniquely. And he came into this world like, oh, boy, this is going to be fun. And everything I did, and I didn't know how to be a young mommy of a newborn into toddlerhood. I had a lot of intellectual knowledge, but everything I did worked for him. Not because I was so brilliant, although I thought I was, because I had a big ego with him, which some parents do when they have these easy-to-parent children. But everything worked. Even in this toddlerhood, I had lots of things around, and I would just say, that's not for touching, and he didn't touch it. I thought I was a genius. Well, 4 years later, his sister was born, and we giggle in my family whenever we say this, because Melissa came into the world hardwired, so different from her brother. From the day she came home from the hospital, nothing I did seemed to be what she needed. And by the time she was a toddler, she would go to touch the same things her brother would touch, and I would use the same brilliant techniques. And she'd look me straight in the eye and keep going, as if to say, you're kidding me, aren't you, Mommy? That's not going to work with me. So I always say, was I a good mother with him and a bad mother with her? Or was he a good child and was she a bad child? And, of course, no. But what worked with him did not necessarily work with her. And I actually was forced to learn beyond my graduate degrees. Melissa pushed me, because every time I thought I knew what I was doing, her behavior would say, you didn't get it right yet, Mom. There's more you have to learn. And, of course, that's how this work began for me, was from my own experience. So the answer to your question is, no, you're not a bad parent, and no, you don't have a bad kid. You're here to learn from each other, and your teacher, you're each other's teachers, but you're also each other's students. And the parent and children are there really to learn from each other.
That's such important information because I was thinking back to my daughter was first, and I'll tell you what, I didn't sleep the first 9 years, I used to say, and what a challenge she was. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know what? I want a brother or sister for her. But I'll know what to do this time because if my next child is just like her, I know how to handle it. Well, Andrew was born, and my gosh, he was the easiest thing in the world. And as he got older, he's grown now, and you laugh about that. I laugh with him because he thought, I'm never doing anything that my sister does. She's always grounded. And she's a great kid, and she was never a bad kid. She was a good kid, but she just, it was tough to raise her. And it's funny because they are all different. And I don't know about you, but in my 35 plus years, I don't think I've ever met a parent that said both the kids were exactly alike.
No, and because they aren't, just like snowflakes, each human being has unique wiring, that's what I call it. Not only the way our bodies are wired, but the way our souls come in. And that's why when I talk about children who are old souls, there's a whole spirit piece of who we are as humans. And that's why I believe once a parent starts to learn this stuff, they will see their children, each child, differently, and they'll be willing to learn the magic. To me, it's like magic. Once you learn this stuff and you figure out which piece is what your child is needing from you, and there are certain things all children need, but children who are hardwired, what I call old souls or little rebels, or we're talking about these kids needed even more, because if we don't understand them and we don't know what their inner landscape, what their world that they're living in looks like, we will misunderstand their behavior. And instead of reading it correctly and giving them what they need, we'll be mad at them, we'll be punishing them, we'll be time-outing them, and what happens then is the disconnect gets exaggerated, and by the time they're 3 and they're 4 and 5 and older, their behavior actually gets worse, and we're sure there's something wrong with them. And
absolutely. Well, Sandy, we're going to break for commercial in just a few seconds. So when we come back, I want to talk more about this because a lot of parents question it. So we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, I need you.
Finally, a show that supports women who are in the midst of a transition in midlife. The show is Second Wind. Here's what certified coach, author, and host of Second Wind, Joyce Buford, wants you to know.
It's so empowering for women to hear about other women and their accomplishments.
We all need cheerleaders, someone who's on our side.
Second Wind is that program to help women connect with other women, hear other women's stories.
In a stressful world,
find power in those stories.
Learn to discover your passions and joys again. Create the life you want to live to the fullest. Join us for Second Wind with Joyce Buford, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
Feeling my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Girl is on fire.
The Woohoo Radio Network presents the Diva Download with Tracy and Tasha. If you think Diva is all about attitude and drama, think again. The Diva Download is the premier online radio program where girls of all ages, shapes, sizes, and colors get together to redefine what it means to be a diva so that all girls can discover their inner diva and develop a healthy sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Being a true diva means you're diverse, curious, involved, value-driven, and active. That's today's diva. If you want to celebrate the girl in your life through education, encouragement, empowerment, and entertainment, join us every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and celebrate the essence of being a girl only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am here with my wonderful guest, Sandi Schwartz. She's just written a terrific book called Authentic Parenting Power, and we were talking all about toddlers. Sandi, before the break, we were talking about little rebels, and we were talking about old souls. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, and what I like to help parents understand the difference between typical toddler behavior and exaggerated behavior by these little rebels who I call old souls. And I just use that expression because we've been throwing that around for a long time. You know, people say, I think he's an old soul. I think I'm an old soul. Here's the way I like to explain it. All toddlers are rebels to a degree because they have a drive to explore and to conquer the world and to figure out who they are in it. And from their perspective, the whole world belongs to them. And if it exists, it's theirs. And this is just typical toddler behavior. And so your typical toddler is figuring out how the world works and who they are in that world. When I talk about the children who come in with these other kind of souls, these intense, sensitive souls, they come in to figure out the world, but they also come to change the world. And they don't necessarily come to figure out who they are in the world. They come with the sense of, I know who I am, and no one's going to tell me who I am. So you can feel there's a difference. And it comes out in their behavior.
Especially in this century, you know, it's so much more demanding. It's different than years ago.
Yes, and times are changing, and energy is changing. And as humans, we are evolving. And when you're in the middle of an evolution, it's really confusing for everybody. And we really are in a very exciting time. Not only is the technology revolutionary, but the way human beings are coming into the world is to keep up with all this is revolutionary. And when an innocent, loving parent is bringing a child into the world, it's challenging enough, especially the toddler years. But when you have one of these children, they are even super challenging, and the parents are baffled. They don't know how to understand or how to be for these kids.
So let me ask you a question. So let's say you have a little rebel and the parent doesn't really understand what to do. How do you know, toddlers mirror us and they watch us to see what we're doing as parents, but you have I'll call, you know what, for better use of words, I'll call it an out of control toddler. How do you honor who the toddler is, but still set those boundaries, still set those limits and teach them, no, it's not okay to jump off the couch or whatever it happens to be, or you're going to burn your hand, you know, you don't touch the water, whatever it is. How do parents learn to set those very, very important boundaries?
And they need to be set for all toddlers, not just the ones who come in extremely intense and sensitive. So all toddlers need pretty much the same kind of basic platform within which to live. And so what I say to parents is you really want to set up your home the way an excellent preschool teacher sets up her classroom. And what is it that they do? Well, first of all, they learn as much as they can about this stage of development and what children need so that the best rather than the worst of them comes out. And what they need is an environment. That means they need a home where they're free to explore and to touch and to taste and to move and to climb, because this is what they need to do. They must do this. It's just part of this time in their life. And there are many parents, and I was like that, I didn't want to put a lot of stuff away. I didn't want to change my house around. I wanted the child to adjust and to learn when she couldn't touch something, and to learn what. Now, there are some things like a stove you can't move out of the way, but there are many things that can be moved out of the way. And, for example, if you don't want your toddler to pick up your smartphone, don't leave it in a place where the toddler can reach it. I mean, that's kind of like, the basic kind of a thing. Don't expect that just because you're the parent and you tell the toddler, no, that's not for touching, that the toddler's brain is mature enough to get it, because it isn't, no matter how bright your toddler is. So you really must set up an environment. So I was once working with a family where the little toddler was jumping on the sofa, and the parents were frustrated. And I said to them, well, one, your toddler needs to jump, obviously, from the toddler's behavior. Do you have a safe place in the house or in the yard where they can jump? And the parents looked at me and said, I don't know. I said, so let's begin with that. Look at what your toddler needs to do and create an okay place where they can go and do that. You can't just always say no, but not give them what it is they need. I had a girlfriend who lived in New York City on the 29th floor of a huge building, and she had the most active little toddler. But she understood he had to run, he had to jump, he had to move. So even in the winter, she was willing to bundle him up and get him outside, even if it was to a shopping center, where he could run and move, because she knew that if she stayed in the apartment with him, she'd be yelling at him all day long. So, and sometimes it's inconvenient.
But don't you think it's true? Let me ask you a question here. I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you think it's true that most toddlers are active and they do need to run and they do need to throw a ball? And, it's most of the toddlers that I see, at some point, they need to be active.
Yes. And some even more so than others. So that's why I'm saying this is true for all toddlers, and you have to get to know who your toddler is and what your toddler needs, and then give it to them. Because if you spend all day long saying no to this and no to that and no to that, you're going to have a very frustrated toddler who's going to start really rebelling. However, coupled with that is you have to have very clear boundaries. So a sofa is for sitting. A sofa is for snuggling. A sofa is for maybe watching the television or, for reading a book. But a sofa is never for jumping, and you must be consistent with that boundary. As soon as you let the toddler jump on the sofa once or twice, now you've set up, I wonder if today's the day I can jump on the sofa, and they're going to test it out. So when you have a boundary, it must be clear and consistent, but I also suggest to use the word no as little as possible. Because we get lazy and we just say no rather than, oh, you forgot. The sofa is for snuggling and watching TV. But come over here. This is a good place for jumping. That's the basic way to handle something.
And it's, and I know parents work and you come home from work and you're tired and it's hard to still be consistent, but it makes your life so much easier. I mean, many years ago, I know, even my own mother would say, you never touched anything, and I wasn't moving anything. You had to learn not to touch. And I guess I was a good kid because I guess I didn't touch it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I like that you're saying don't keep saying no. There was a joke somewhere where somebody asked the toddler what his name was, and he thought his name was No. No, don't touch that.
and when I say this, I know it's not easy. I had many friends who were teachers of young children who were brilliantly gifted in school, and when they got home, they were yelling at their own children. And It was because we were tired. We've been, all of us, we come home from a whole day. We just want our kids to listen and do what they're supposed to do. And I always remind people, it's true, it's exhausting, but if you put this in the toddler years, it's really going to come back as wonderful. It's like investment in your banking account. It's painful to put the money in on a monthly basis, but boy, years from now, you're going to be thrilled that you disciplined yourself to do that, and it will show up by the time they're 4 and 5 and 6 years old. You'll be so happy you put this in the toddler years.
Exactly. And then when they get older, I know you're expecting a grandchild, so that's exciting. But when they get older, you'll see your children saying the same thing, which is really interesting, that they will tell their own children exactly the same words.
And my son just asked me this because my grandson is 7 months and he's now crawling. And my son just said to me, what do you think of using the word no? And I said to him, my suggestion is use it as little as you can. It doesn't mean not have boundaries. But the same way we wouldn't want our boss to say, no, you're doing it wrong. No, not like that. No. After a while, you just want to say, shut up, leave me alone. But if your boss came in and said, wow, look how you did that. If you do this way, it might work better. You go, oh, okay, I'm willing to try it. Always remember how you would feel if you were in a position where you had someone who could boss you. How would you want them to approach you, and how would you want them to redirect you? That's the basic guidance also with little ones. That's how we should approach them and to get the best results.
Exactly. And your grandson's 7 months old. I thought he wasn't born yet.
When I wrote the book, he wasn't born yet, and that's why I dedicated it to my soon-to-be grandchild, but the book came out, and he was born within the same week.
And how exciting! 2 things born the same week, and how lucky is that to have you as grandma to help? I think that's such a good story that your son asked you about no, because that's the word we know, and you'll see how many toddlers do you see going no, no, no. And they hear it from the parents, and, you don't want to hear them say it 50,000 times, but it's an easy word, and that's what they do. So that's really good advice. It's so much better to not say the no's.
Yeah, because they mimic us, and we are modeling for them all the time. So if when we're angry, we start yelling and carrying on, it's really hard to turn to the toddler or when they get into the 3s and say, use your words, honey. Don't have a breakdown, when often we're modeling the very breakdown that we don't want from them.
Well, I love the sound effects, so don't tell your dog no.
Oh, that's my dog having a breakdown.
We'll be right back. We're going to break for commercial.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
This is Buzz Local Radio. There's 3 topics here, and we just added a 4th because we started talking about hot dogs.
Yep, in a band. He's in a band. We both had guitars, so I went over to his house Christmas Day day.
We had to start a band.
And I think we wrote 4 or 5 songs that afternoon.
And Cannibalistic Fish was one of them. Cannibalistic Fish.
I couldn't do the dreads. My mom would not let me wear my pants backwards to school either. That was wiggity, 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 whack. Buzz Local Radio. Available for free download on TogiNet.com. That's TogiNet.com.
Mobile is the future, and the future is now. Listen in each week, Tuesdays 4 to 5 Central, to Brilliant Mobile Marketing with your host, Mobile Mary, as we simplify the hottest marketing channel, mobile marketing, and share secrets on how you can use mobile to be more brilliant, be more profitable, and have more fun in your industry. Join us each week to learn from brilliant business leaders on how to simply and easily capture a list of raving fans and turn them into loyal customers. This show will help business owners, authors, and speakers realize their own brilliance by tapping into the insights of fellow brilliant business leaders. We will also showcase brilliant tools, both traditional and digital, that will make you more brilliant in everything you do. Don't miss your date with brilliant mobile marketing and your host, Mobile Mary, America's mobile marketing expert, as she shares her success strategies every Tuesday from 4 to 5 Central.
Do you feel like when you watch a cooking show or read a food magazine that the recipes are not practical for a busy family? Do you wish you could have a conversation with someone about the best way to get dinner on the table fast after a long day at work? Are you tired of cooking dinner only to have your family turn up their nose at all of your hard work? Do you want to hear more about healthy living and finding more time to find your passion in life? Well, pull up a chair and visit with Heather Tallman, host of Around the Kitchen Sink. Thursday nights at 10 p.m. here. Like many women, finding balance in life and time to take care of yourself is hard to do. Between managing a career and marriage and children and a busy family schedule, it's hard to maintain a sense of self. And Heather shares how she does it. Check out Heather's website, basilmama.com. Join us for food and a whole lot more on Around the Kitchen Sink with your host, Heather Tallman. Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. The hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back. I am here with my wonderful guest, Sandi Schwartz. She has just written Authentic Parenting Power. It's a terrific book. Sandi is the founder of Leading Edge Parenting and has been teaching parents for years. She's so good. And we're talking about toddlers today. And if you have a question, you still have time to call. If you call us at 877-864-4869. And don't forget to look at all the other great shows on TogiNet.com. We have great shows on every topic you would ever want. So, Sandi, let's talk a little bit about, we were talking during the break about a specific type of toddler that needs a little more extra care. Can you talk about that?
Yes, and I wrote about this in the book because my daughter said, you must tell parents about this, Mom, because she was one of them, and she was misunderstood as a child by me. And that is that some children come into this world hardwired, much more sensitive to the world around them as well as their inner world, and they don't know what to do with their sensitivity. And what I mean by that is the outer world, they pick up on things around us that nobody else is picking up on. So it could be noise, it could be sounds, it could be sweat in a room, it could be an inauthentic person. They read energy. They just could feel uncomfortable with something that no one else is experiencing, and then they have a breakdown. Or it could be their inner landscape. It could be suddenly they feel hungry or tired or frustrated, and they don't know how to express what's going on. And because they're super sensitive to it, they're the ones who have big reactions, and often they have tantrums, and it comes out of the blue often. And the parents who are so baffled by it sometimes take it personally, like, what? I'm trying to give this kid everything and she's still having a breakdown. Or, what is wrong with you? All of a sudden you're breaking down. And it's not necessarily because you said no to a toy. It could be you're having a wonderful day, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, the child just has a meltdown, and you didn't even see it coming. So I want parents to understand that children who are wired to be super sensitive, and they're like, they don't see a rainbow in the way we see it. They see it much more intensely. They experience it much more intensely. They're saturated by life much quicker than anybody else is. And since they're overwhelmed by it, they have breakdowns. So I beg parents to learn about this so that they will know how to be there for those children, where the kids don't feel like there's something wrong with them and that they're naughty, but more that that they're having a hard time, and that mommy and daddy are there to help them through it. And it's going to make a world of difference in your life and in the life of your child.
Is there a hint when they're a baby, if they're a certain kind of baby? Can you tell?
Well, I always say to parents, tell me what your child was like as a baby. When your child was hungry, did they go like to 0 to 100 right away? Like, did the child get hungry and then get hysterical because they didn't get, fed immediately? Sometimes that shows up like that. Or when your child got tired, did he just go into a tizzy? Like, nothing you did helped him fall asleep. Like he went beyond tired, again, from 0 to 100. These are the kids who when they're frustrated, tired, overwhelmed, they just become frantic by it. And sometimes you can see it when they're infants.
I was just going to ask you a question. That just went out of my head. Well, and I believe that you get a do-over many times with your children.
Yes.
If you think you're not doing it right, you'll have a do-over the next time because they will have another tantrum. And you know what?
Yes.
When you figure out how to deal
yes.
consistently.
And parents always ask me, is it too late? Is it ever too late? Because sometimes when I explain these children, the parents say to me, wait a minute, I was like this as a child. Oh, my gosh, and I drove my mother crazy, and they didn't understand me. Or sometimes parents will say, wait a minute, my spouse is like that. And so it's really important that we don't judge these people, that we understand this is their hard wiring.
And the thing is, you can't judge yourself either, but you do have to be honest with yourself. We're all different.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us have shorter fuses. Some of us have longer fuses. Some people can bake. Some people can write. Some people can sew. We're all different. And I think as parents and as human beings, when we look at who we are and how we deal with our own lives, I think it makes it easier when we start to deal with our children.
And Blythe, I always tell parents, before you were a parent, you were just in charge of pretty much your own life. Now that you're a parent, the children hold up mirrors to us, and especially these intense energy reading souls. They hold up mirrors and they say, look at yourself, Mommy. Look at yourself, Daddy. Look at how you handle life. Sometimes we want the little ones to handle life better than we handle it.
Oh, that's for sure. And you know what? If your toddler is a talker, they will point it out. And that's where the learning comes. And sometimes, I can remember thinking, I don't believe I did that. I didn't even realize I was doing that. And my daughter would say, why did you say that, Mom? And I would go, wait a minute, why did I say that? Or, I could have handled it differently. And the next time I did handle it differently.
Yeah, the toddler stage is some people say terrible twos, and I say, I know it's difficult, it's challenging because you have to be on top of them all the time to make sure that they're safe and that their surroundings are safe. But it's a wonderful time because it's our opportunity as grown-ups to slow our own lives down and get in that world with them and giggle with them and get on the floor and see life through their eyes and kind of not be so busy on the internet and not be so busy on all the things we make it. Some things we have to be busy with, but sometimes we could really say, let me just slow down my own grown-up world and get into my toddler's world and have fun and be young and giggly again. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to slow down our own lives and play and be playful.
Well, and I have to say the things you're going to remember, your child is not going to remember you saying no. Your child is going to remember when you're on the floor and when you're doing something with them. But I think we have a caller. Casey, can we get the caller on the line? Let's see. We have Connie, and she has a question, but I'm not quite sure. Is Connie there?
Hello.
Hey, Connie, you have a question?
I do, and somehow I think it's going to be blamed back here to the adults, but little Alice is 3 now, and we seem to have a very bad word that we like to say. We've tried the saying no. I like your advice about, did you forget that this was a bad word? I'll try that, but what else can I do?
Are you asking me? This is Sandy.
Yes, yes, she's asking you.
Either one of you.
Okay, well,
this is really quiet.
This is what I say to parents when their children start using potty language or cursing. I'm assuming it's a curse word.
Yes,
and so there's no blame or judgment here, but I want parents to understand children don't come into the world knowing these curse words. So she picked it up from somewhere. And I don't know if you know where she picked it. Do you know if she picked it up from some grown-up using it who she is with, or from television? Do you know how she picked it up?
I know how she picked it up. She picked it up from my daughter, from her mom.
Okay. So, you see, this is what I say to parents, and again, without judgment. We put children in environments where grown-ups are cursing, and then when the little one picks it up and comes home and does it, we get upset with the little one. But they were in the environment, and so it's really hard to make a 3-year-old responsible for a grown-up's behavior. That's why it's so tricky.
So, Sandy, tell her quickly what she can do, because we're going to end the show very quickly talking about.
All right, my advice to you. Well, the first advice is that she should be hanging out with that adult as little as possible, but if you can't control it, I would just ignore her when she uses it and turn the attention someplace else and give her absolutely no attention for it.
Great answer, and don't laugh.
Thank you.
Just don't laugh.
Don't laugh. Just talk about something else.
Anyway, thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
And Sandy,
Bye-bye.
I have to say goodbye because we're coming to the end of the show. So this was great, and you have to be on the show again. I mean, such wonderful information. I will put everything on my website, how to contact you, and everybody needs to buy Authentic Parenting Power by Sandi Schwartz. So I want you to take
I put up some free resources on my website for your listeners, and I'm just starting a new coaching program for parents of toddlers and sensitive children. So get on leadingedgeparenting.com and download all the free stuff.
Great. Well, thank you, Sandy. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.
It was fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Well, thanks for listening. Next week, my guest will be from Arizona Childproofers. We're going to talk all about keeping your children safe. Nancy Dastrup is a wonderful guest. Can't wait to talk about how to keep your kids safe in the summer, in this heat. Also, don't forget to check out my websites, mybestparentingadvice.com. You can call me if you need a coaching appointment. I do lots of parent coaching. My office number is 480-510-1453. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Anyway, I'd like to leave the end of the show and close the show with these wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom. The way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. And every child is gifted. They just unwrap their packages at different times. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week. See you next time. Bye-bye.